Hello, 8th grade. This is Mr. Wilson, and today we're going to be continuing to talk about the Articles of Confederation. I am video recording this lecture. I got a sore throat a little bit, so I'm trying to save my vocal cords. This will stop me from needing to repeat myself so much, and hopefully it's something we can continue to work in the future. This is something I used to do last year a lot. Going to try to get around to doing some more video lectures. So, Articles of Confederation, the first thing we need to talk about today is that you will be having a quiz on the Articles of Confederation on Wednesday. We had talked about that being last week. We got that pushed back because we had some short classes. So we will have that quiz on Wednesday of this week, but don't worry. I will make sure that you guys are super prepared as long as we're following along and listening. You can use the Cornell notes and your weaknesses organizer from last week. Lots of you gave those to me. I still have them. I'm going to give them back to you to use on the quiz. If you didn't give those to me and you still have them in your binders, please, 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 please hang on to those as best you can. You will be able to use them during the quiz. You will not be able to use your cell phone, obviously, during the quiz, but you can use paper notes that you wrote with your own hand on a piece of paper. So paper notes, perfectly good. You can also use today's DFA sheet, and I can also hang on to those for you guys if you want. If you don't want to risk losing them at the end of the day today, I'm happy to collect these up. Okay, first thing we're going to have to do before we get into what you guys are actually learning and reading today, we need to talk about some vocabulary that you're going to come across in your reading. 6 different words. A little bit more than 6, but 6 different definitions that we need today. What's going to happen is I'm going to go through, I'm going to get a helper to help me out by pausing the video at the appropriate times. You guys are going to copy down those definitions. We should have plenty of time. All right. First word we're going to hit is central government. So right there under number 1 on your DFA sheet, you're going to write central government. And then in the lines below that, you're going to copy down the definition. A central government is the political authority that rules the entire country. So you're going to take a second, copy that definition down. I'll read it again in just a moment. But to show you what that kind of means is, we got 3 different states here. And of course, you guys know that there are 13 states in the founding of our country. But we've got Maryland, New York, and Massachusetts. Maryland has its own government. New York has its own government. Massachusetts has its own government. That's still true. But having a central government also means that there is a United States central government that has authority both in Maryland and in New York and in Massachusetts. Okay, so again, that definition is a central government is the political authority that rules an entire country. Helper's going to go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, the next word we need to hit is confederation. A confederation is an agreement between several groups to form a larger group. It is usually a weak form of a central government. So, if we're looking at our same example of those 3 states, the 3 states each have their own independent government. They are a group. Maryland is a group by itself. New York is a group by itself. Massachusetts is a group by itself. They bind together to belong to a larger group. That group is the Confederation. So again, that definition is a confederation is an agreement between several groups to form a larger group. It is usually a weak form of a central government. My helper is going to go ahead and pause the video right now. Okay, the next word we're going to get is actually 3 words. So you'll look at number 3 on your DFA sheet, and you'll see that there's 3 blanks there. You're going to write national and continental and federal in those 3 blanks. They're 3 slightly different words, but as far as our class is concerned, they pretty much mean the same thing. That definition you're going to copy down is national means something that relates to all the people of a country or nation. So in America, we also use the word continental and federal to mean the same kind of thing as national. National can be for any country. So I'm going to hit that definition again. National means something that relates to all the people of a country or nation. Helper's going to go ahead and pause the video. Thank you, Helper, and we'll move on to our next word. So Congress is our next word. Congress means people getting together to make national rules and laws. Okay, don't copy the next part, but the word Congress literally just means a group or a meeting. So when you see, when you come in the morning and you see Miss Cooper out here with all the other teachers for our morning meeting, you could say, oh, this is a Congress of teachers. Nobody talks like that, and if you do, you're a dork, but that's an appropriate use of that word. So again, that definition is Congress means people getting together to make national rules and laws. Helper's going to go ahead and pause the video. Okay. Next one is also going to be a double, just like we did a triple earlier. So the two words are finance and fiscal. Finance refers to anything related to money. So you're going to write down those two words, finance and fiscal. Finance refers to anything related to money. Helper, go ahead and pause, please. Thank you very much. All right, the last word we're going to take a look at is a finance word. It's a financial word, and it's a little bit more complicated than the other ones. So we're going to go through. I'm going to give you the time to get the definition, and then we're going to talk about what that word means a little bit in the video, because it can get kind of complicated as to why it happens. So we'll just stick with it. All right, the word is inflation, just like a balloon, inflation. And inflation is a problem where there is too much of a currency or money and it loses its value. So currency means money. Inflation is a problem where there is too much of a currency or money and it loses value. I'm going to read that one more time, then we're going to pause it, then we'll dig in a little bit more what that word means. So for the third time, that definition: inflation is a problem where there is too much of a currency or money and it loses value. Okay, my helper's going to go ahead and pause it here. Thank you. So, what really happens with inflation is that if there's so much of a particular type of currency, it becomes totally worthless. And this photo is a real photograph from Germany in the 1920s, and you see this man is literally sweeping up paper money, and he's going to throw it away. It's trash. It's just dumped in the street. So the reason for that is, imagine if only 5 students in the classroom each had a piece of candy, and it was a piece of candy that you really wanted. If one of those students came up to you with that piece of candy, of which there were only a few, and he said, hey, do my homework tonight and I'll give you this piece of candy, and you really want that candy, right? You might say yes. Okay, that's how money's supposed to work. You give somebody money, they give you a good, or they do something for you. Now let's imagine that every student in the classroom has 1,000 pieces of candy in his pocket. So like Del Monte came in here on the day after Halloween, he had 1,000 pieces of candy in his backpack, right? So if every student has 1,000 pieces of candy in their backpack, is that same student going to be able to walk up to you and offer you one piece of candy in exchange for you doing their homework? No, you're going to tell him to get lost. You've got 1,000 pieces of candy in your backpack. So you might say, okay, well, I might do your homework for another 1,000 pieces of candy. Or you might say, you know what, I got so much candy, I don't even know what to do with it. I'm not trying to get any candy from you, but I'm definitely not going to do any work for just one piece of candy when I have 1,000 and you have 1,000 and Billy has 1,000 and whatever. So that is what happens with inflation. People end up with so much paper money, and everybody has so much paper money that the money loses its value. You won't give somebody the same amount of work in exchange for the same number of dollars. That was a problem that we had in the United States in the Articles of Confederation. You guys are going to read a little bit about it. All right. Thank you guys for following along with this video. And what you're going to do is jump into your reading. So every one of you picked up a packet. I printed these packets out in color on my printer with my paper and my ink at home. So please make sure that you're being respectful of them. And that's what the other questions on your DFA on the back relate to, is to that packet. All right. Thanks, guys.